Good morning. It is coming up to 9:30 on this Tuesday morning, and I've just spent about an hour and a half doing some reading, trying to get as much of my solid reading done early today because I have rehearsals until I think 9:30 in the evening, so I won't be able to kind of do much in the evening. Following on from yesterday, I mentioned Klimt and talked about the kind of seriousness of his work and the kind of obsessiveness of just it's about the work. And I also talked about how this week I really want to dive deeper into Vienna as a way of kind of further understanding Egon Schiele and his life and work. And so this morning, in my sort of excitement and haste, I picked up a book and started to read through the prologue of it. Now, the book I was reading through is by Thomas Mann, The Reflections of a Non-Political Man. And it kind of took me down a path that, well, to put it simply, this wasn't the book that I had in my mind to read. I was actually wanting to read Precision and Soul by Robert Musil. Robert Musil being an Austrian writer. And I thought that the Precision and Soul by Musil would be the perfect book for me to read because it's wholly to do with, you know, that particular period in Vienna and Austria. Anyway, I ended up reading the prologue to The Reflections of a Non-Political Man by Thomas Mann, taking me down another kind of route. But I actually found some really wonderful passages in the prologue, which I want to read now. And the first one is about this idea of seriousness. Why so serious? So the passage starts off, "Be that as it may, I reduce the origin of these pages to its common denominator when I call it conscientiousness, a quality that makes up such an essential part of my artistic gift that one could say briefly that it consists of it, conscientiousness, a moral artistic quality to which I owe everything it has been my lot to accomplish, and that now has played this trick on me. For I know well how close it comes to pedantry, and whoever would like to label and explain away this whole book as monstrous, childish hypochondriacal pedantry would hardly miss the mark. Many times it has not seemed otherwise to me. More than once, more than 100 times, throughout all my explorations, explications, and expectorations, the question of the motto has forced itself upon me with the laughter that accompanies incomprehensibility. In retrospect, when I consider my clumsy efforts on the political question, I notice some of the same feeling that will certainly come over my readers. What the devil did it matter to him? But it did matter to me. It was truly and passionately close to my heart, and it seemed absolutely necessary somehow to clear up these questions according to my best understanding, belief and ability. For the times were such that one could no longer tell the difference between what concerned the individual and what did not. Everything was excited, stirred up, the problems stormed into one another and could no longer be separated. One could see the interrelationship, the unity of the intellectual matters. The question of the human being himself was there, and the responsibility to this question also included the necessity for a political point of view and resolution. It was the magnitude, the weight, the limitless of the times that left the conscientious person, and somehow, I do not know to what or to whom, the responsible person, the person who took himself seriously. Nothing he did not have to take seriously. All pain for the sake of things is self-torment, and the only person who torments himself is the one who takes himself seriously. One will pardon all my pedantry and childishness in these pages when one has pardoned me for taking myself seriously, a fact that becomes clear when I speak directly about myself, and certainly a quality that one can recognise and smile at as the very origin of all pedantry. Lord, how he takes himself so seriously. My book certainly provides continual opportunity for this exclamation. I have nothing to say against this except for the fact that I have never lived, nor could live, without taking myself seriously, except for the knowledge that everything that seems good and noble to me, intellect, art, morality, comes from human beings taking themselves seriously, for the clear insight that everything I have accomplished and produced, indeed the charm and value of every single bit of it, every line and expression of my life's work up till now, as much and as little as this may say, can exclusively be traced back to my taking myself seriously. I wrote this down in my notebook and then put a hyphen and just wrote the word boom. Yeah. Why so serious? I really like that passage, and I don't want to say too much about it right now because I don't want to elongate this this reading. I want to read one shorter little passage to finish. This is also from Thomas Mann's prologue to Reflections of a Non-Political Man, which, by the way, was written on 1918, the same year that Klimt died, the same year that Egon Schiele died, and yeah. So, they will say I had not only, or not just, shown myself to be a bad thinker, but also, and much more, to be one who thinks bad thoughts, has a mean disposition and a bad character, by attempting, you see, to support and defend what is dying out and falling away, and to oppose what is new and necessary, to do harm to the times themselves. To this I must reply that one can serve the times in more ways than one, and that mine does not definitely have to be wrong, bad, and fruitless one. A contemporary thinker has said, "It is not difficult to discover the direction a culture is taking, and it is not so wonderful as the half-wits all around the country think to join it with great fanfare. To recognise the true path of life, the reversals, the contradictions, the tensions of life, the counterweights it needs, the opposing forces and that tenses it anew, where it has become weak through expenditure of effort, the antagonists without whom the drama of life does not progress, not only to see all these things, but to feel them alive in oneself, struggling against one another. This makes the person who is the complete human being in his times." A beautiful statement that strikes a chord in my soul. I do not think that it is the essence and duty of the writer to join with great fanfare the main direction the culture is taking at the moment. I do not think, and cannot, from my very nature, think it is natural and necessary for the writer to support development in a completely positive way by direct, credulous, enthusiastic advocacy as a solid knight of the times, without scruple and doubt, with straightforward intentions and an unbroken determination and spirit for it. His God. On the contrary, authorship itself has always seemed to me to be a witness to and an expression of ambivalence, of here and there, of yes and no, of two souls in one breast, of an annoying richness in inner conflicts, antitheses, and contradictions. What is, after all, the origin and purpose of writing, if it is not an intellectual moral effort in behalf of a problematic ego? I will leave it there, and of course I'm still working through and understanding and deciphering these these quotes myself, but I think it's an interesting thought, the question about the seriousness of one's self, one's work, one's art. And I liked that last quote that Thomas Mann says about to recognise the true path of life, the reversals, the contradictions, the tensions of life, you know, as opposed to yeah, he's just basically saying it's not so difficult to discover the direction a culture is taking, but to kind of really go deeper and understand the kind of complexities and all that is part of it is something else. Anyway, some food for thought, and I am going to leave it there and look forward to sharing some more of my reading and thoughts with you this week. Have a lovely day and see you in the next video.